You gotta get those views somehow. I'm kind of surprised she didn't catch on more. I like her. I like her a lot. Head dance, mouth, and cheek circles. This is peak character design. This is Planet Dolan. Take those sensitive ass back to chicken nugget. One more thing to get the Dolaners at my goal. I like Shima. I hope she returns. It's not really her. It's just that they improved over time. I rewatched both old and new videos. And I like the James Shark era like substantially more. I like the rotating cast, and I know I said he's just worse Hellbent, but I was wrong. I miss Nixium. I want him back. Why doesn't he get the most replayed segments?
He's so cool.
And that's kind of it. This whole thing got blown out of proportion, and I'm gonna be honest, it was just an unfortunate mix of things, like being the first female character on the channel and people going caca over this design. So a little post-production thing. After just editing this and just rewatching stuff, I have a few more words, and all my thoughts just boil down to why the fuck does anyone care? Look at playlists. She has collaborations that have like 5K views, and I'm just sitting there like, if she wasn't on this channel, no one would care, because she basically just quit via ghosting everyone. And I don't think that would have been treated as such a big deal. Now people think she fucking died, the fucking government isn't experimenting on it, everything. I feel like the internet just took something so simple and basic and turned it into whatever this is. This, like, it's a mad world fucking chase for where Shima is when somebody just quit the internet because it was scary. Because it isn't a grand thing, it's just someone in front of a microphone. That's all it is. I know I kind of did the exact opposite of what Dolan wanted with the video for people, a definitive video so people would stop. But look, there's so much stuff. And it isn't even about the disappearance. Like fucking Scare Seedier, the fucking weird guy who made that, all the fucking theories for no reason, the fucking game theories. It's just, oh fuck. And then you realize that Shima isn't even a character anymore. She's just the mystery. She isn't a person. She's just the mystery. That's all she is now. No one cares about Shima the character anymore or Shima the person. It's why did Shima go missing and how can we find her? It's part of just like something you don't know what's happening and you want to figure out what's happening. And especially because a lot of Super Planet Dolan was a part of a lot of people's childhoods, so they want that closure on what really happened when we've had the closure for 6 years. I'm a little hesitant about this video because I think he already made his, and I'm thinking maybe I just made things worse. Maybe I should have just left it alone. Like, I just added more to the fake urban legend of what happened to Shima when it's completely unneeded. The YouTube polls don't lie, baby. Am I right, Dolan?
Hello and welcome back to the Shima Hunters finale extravaganza, End of Dolvangelion.
Hey Shimers and Shimas, we're outside the real location of the house belonging to Shima Luan.
We looked up in the Yellow Pages and we read the book Doxing for Dummies. We think we have this cat in the bag.
We set up some super secret high-tech spy cameras to see if any super humanoid cat figures come out. And if that happens, my boy Dr. Cummins will come out there with a Shima doll.
Let's just say that if this is a game of cat and mouse, I'd be the cat and Shima would be the mouse.
No, wait, if Shima was the cat, she wouldn't... No, if she was the mouse, it would make more sense if she was a cat.
You're a goddamn asshole, you know that?
She's a cat.
Fucking piece of shit, stupid goddamn
who's that?
motherfucker.
Who the fuck is that? Who's that?
I'm gonna
oh,
sweet.
Oh wait, hold on, I gotta check that out. You stay here. I'll get you on the fucking comms. Hold on. You stay there. What are you doing? Yeah, it's 2 a.m. on a Thursday night. You're outside Shima's house eating eggs. Get the fuck out of here.
Was it Shima?
Oh hey, Bleemers and Bleemettes. Bleem days. Due to all the
In case you don't know what zero punctuation is and have therefore presumably been living in a cave on the dark side of a moon in the Andromeda Galaxy, it is, or was, foreshadowing. A video series hosted by Benjamin Richard Mustache Contaminating Yahtzee Sebastian Godzilla Ordinary Person Croshaw. Admittedly, only about 4 of those names are accurate, see if you can guess which ones. Zero Punctuation was famous for primarily 5 things: the incredibly fast rate at which Yahtzee delivered his scripts, its incredibly dry absurdity to wit and humor, extraordinarily harsh criticism and high standards bordering on the unreasonable and contradictory, its unique presentation style which looked like a Paper Mario game if you had recently suffered a concussion, and also a lot of swearing. It is admittedly a fairly difficult series to describe if one hasn't seen it before, but the good thing about it is that if you're even vaguely familiar with the communities involved or interested in video games or the internet at all, then you already know exactly who Yahtzee is and what Zero Punctuation is, as the sheer reach and popularity of the series cannot be overstated. Anyway, Zero Punctuation was probably the first series that I recall watching that was actually dedicated specifically to reviewing video games. When I was introduced to it at the time, there were a number of online personalities that I enjoyed who reviewed games, but they also did a whole bunch of other stuff. Reviews were only a small part of their repertoire, while Zero Punctuation was more specifically focused on games and their mechanics and being angry. I still distinctly remember the very first episode that I saw when a friend introduced it to me. It was the Mindjack one back in 2011. I've been following ever since, so it's safe to say that I've been a long-time viewer. So you like about Yahtzee, but the bloke has a gift for humor that makes him incredibly enjoyable to watch if you don't take his word as gospel. I actually in fact have to credit Yahtzee for sparking my interest in critical analysis, which has developed to be far more broad, ranging from not only video games but to other mediums. He's definitely the first viewer that I encountered that made me start looking at not only video games but media broadly with a lot more of a critical lens and start thinking about aspects of media that I don't think would have occurred to me to think about. Of course, that was never the main point of Zero Punctuation, but it was an interesting side effect that I find myself pondering whenever I watch or rewatch episodes of the series while doing work, falling asleep, or tormenting the prisoners I have chained up in the basement. But I entirely agree with him on basically everything. We divert quite drastically. In fact, one of the things I've noticed is that if he likes a game and recommends it, there's a good chance that I'll like it. I've played Spec Ops: The Line to his recommendation. I still haven't emotionally recovered, but for like half the games he talks about that he hates, I then played, enjoyed, and have to wonder what the blinking buggery game he played. My favorite one right now is Watch Dogs, a game I played about a month ago at time of writing, where he complained about the main character's sister not recognizing him as the vigilante even after the news began to broadcast his name. And I remember thinking, buddy, she had been held hostage for like 80% of the game in a garage in an old construction yard, and for 100% of the time the news has been doing that. When would she have heard this? We're exceptionally different people with very different tastes. He's a pessimist, I'm an optimist. He hates anime, I love anime. He wears a hat, I wear a hood. He hates I played Spec Ops: The Line to his recommendation. I still haven't emotionally recovered, but for like half the games he talks about that he hates, I then played, enjoyed, and have to wonder what the blinking buggery game he played. My favorite one right now is Watch Dogs, a game I played about a month ago at time of writing, where he complained about the main character's sister not recognizing him as the vigilante even after the news began to broadcast his name. And I remember thinking, buddy, she had been held hostage for like 80% of the game in a garage in an old construction yard, and for 100% of the time the news has been doing that. When would she have heard this? We're exceptionally different people with very different tastes. He's a pessimist, I'm an optimist. He hates anime, I love anime. He wears a hat, I wear a hood. He hates Assassin's Creed, I love Assassin's Creed. He hates Assassin's Creed 3, I plan on throwing the protagonist of 3 at him like a ballistic missile in some sort of horrific analogy of European colonialism. But still, I tend to be able to figure out if I'll enjoy a game or not based on his recommendations, which I think means he's a fairly solid reviewer as far as reviewers go. But none of you came here to hear about any of that. So why am I doing this, you ask? Mostly because no one has stopped me yet. What the fuck are you doing in my house, viewer? That is a very good question. Let's talk about that, shall we? So, after 16 years and 835 episodes, Zero Punctuation as a series has been cancelled. And this wasn't done as some sort of retiree thing like Yahtzee just got tired of the series and wanted to quit. No, this happened because of executive meddling, corporate acquisitions, and one of the most satisfying missteps I've ever seen. Given the absolute megalithic stable of internet culture that the series had become, I want to talk about this and how it all went down and what we can learn from it. Because this entire series of events is a microcosm of the issue permeating the contemporary age. And what I hope to God that the human race will remember by the time all this is all said and done, because I do not want to see this repeated on Mars, Venus, Alpha Centauri, or basically anywhere else. In fact, screw it. Let's open this section up with both a reference and a spoiler.
It's all love.
Economic system which is fundamentally incapable of working with the needs of the people who prop us up in the first place that should be readjusted to do so.
Never learned anything.
Yes, I'm about to surplus a freight train running into the House of Parliament. So, let's start this off with some history, shall we? The year is 2007, and Fedora Man has posted the first episode of All Become Zero Punctuation on the video sharing website YouTube under the channel name Yahtzee19. This series was titled Fully Ramblomatic, and consisted of only 2 episodes, one on the demo of The Darkness, and the other on Fable: The Lost Chapters. After these 2 were released, Yahtzee was contacted by an internet gaming magazine and website known as the Roundtable of State, I mean The Escapist, a group which is, as far as I can tell, run by a bunch of abject psychopaths. They recruited Yahtzee and the series and rebranded it as Zero Punctuation, and thus was born the subject of today's autopsy, and remained on there for 16 years, both on their website and on The Escapist's own YouTube channel. Now, one thing that The Escapist had going for it was a lot of talent. Various internet personalities that I enjoyed in the past and continue to do so to this day were at one point affiliated with the site, from Jim/James/Stephanie Sterling to Miracle of Sound to Extra Credits. Systematically, though, with the near precision of a goddamn serial killer, The Escapist's insidiousness began, and everyone began to live up to its name and perform escaping acts to get away from it. The Extra Credits situation in particular deserves a bit of attention, because what happened to them is going to be something of a recurring theme with what ended up happening with Zero Punctuation and part of the conclusive thesis statement. In 2011, a dispute between The Escapist and James Portnow, the co-creator of Extra Credits, erupted. The dispute regarding money, also known as power coupons, also known as that thing that keeps screwing everything up, that we really should just abolish the concept and be done with it. But anyway, essentially what happened was that the Extra Credits artist needed surgery and the team hadn't been paid for months. According to the research I did, this was something that the corporate owners were fully aware of, they just didn't care. So the Extra Credits team crowdfunded the surgery, got enough money, and then a whole lot more. The after surgery got done, and the team decided to use the rest of the money to start a game publishing label, the revenue of which would go into other projects. The Escapist, which I will remind you again, hadn't paid them in months for putting them into this situation in the first place, and then had the sheer baffling nerve to say that the excess money should have been going towards making more episodes of Extra Credits for The Escapist, presumably for them to make more money that they weren't going to pay the team with. But there's a whole legal argument wrapped up in all of this, but whether or not The Escapist had a legal right to demand any of this, I couldn't care less about. Morally speaking, if I were involved with the Extra Credits team at the time, I'd have been out for blood. Mostly for The Escapist, I wasn't, and they just split off and made sure everyone else knew what had happened. It's hard to imagine what the executives involved in this mess were even expecting to happen. Did they think that they had just gotten free indentured servants forever? You'd think they would make more logical and business sense to keep a showrunner like this on site so that long term they generate more interest and income than you would get out of screwing them over, but that's apparently just never occurred to anyone. Other stuff happened over the years. Sterling left after they refused to publish a negative Assassin's Creed Unity review that they wrote for fear of isolating industry contacts and access to review codes. Speaking as an Assassin's Creed fan, I too would be infuriated at not being able to make my contempt for that failure of an entry known. Miracle of Sound also left, but according to them at least on good terms. Fair enough, although I imagine they're quite pleased with that choice right about now. This combined with a bunch of other controversies and you get the idea. This entire site had devolved into a cesspool with Yahtzee being one of its only contracted workers at the time. This entire period saw a decline in basically the entire site, except for Zero Punctuation, which it might not be an exaggeration to say single-handedly kept the site afloat. Cut forward to 2018, and the Escapist was sold, relaunched, and new talent was brought in. Not necessarily in that order, mind. One of those being a bloke called Nick Calandra, who became the editor-in-chief in 2019. For a while, it seemed like the Escapist was doing better than they had been following the decline it had been on, and Calandra is the main building block to all that happened next. By and large, during his time as editor-in-chief of the Escapist, Calandra was popular among the video team and regarded as fair, even-handed, and generally quite reasonable. But in September of 2022, the company that owned the Escapist sold it to another company called Gamose Group. That's almost certainly not how it's pronounced, but I refuse to show this company any amount of respect for the following reason. In November of 2023, Calandra was fired from the Escapist by Gamose Group, apparently for not achieving goals. Whatever that's supposed to mean. That's so non-specific, it can mean literally anything, and forgive me for not taking a corporation at their word. Whatever the reasoning behind it was, the entire video team, including Yahtzee, left the Escapist outright in solidarity with Calandra, effectively leaving the Escapist channel dead in the water. And so came an end to Zero Punctuation. The entire thing was genuinely quite incredible to watch. Gamose did the game journalism equivalent of buying a giant tower made of gold to survey all the diamond fields that they had purchased along with it, only to shoot themselves in the foot with a bazooka and obliterate the tower wholesale. Hilariously enough, many of the creators involved had a couple of episodes that they had made ahead of schedule before leaving, and when the Escapist posted them after a 2-week pause in their upload schedule, they disabled the comment section, apparently thinking that this would somehow limit the fallout. Cowards. Okay, in total fairness, that same day they did post a community message, but that's like the rapid speak disclaimers at the end of an advertisement. You're just covering yourself and hoping that no one notices at that point. Well done, lads. I don't know how you thought this was going to go, but I thank you for adding yet another entry into my corporations don't know what they're doing library. Now get out of here before I pull an Altair. Well, I'm actually rather glad to be able to report that this title screen is inaccurate because lessons have been learned this time around. After leaving The Escapist, the video team got straight to work and made Second Wind, a group with a similar style of content to the work that they did on The Escapist, but this time as an employee-owned, independently funded outlet, where people who actually make the content that allowed The Escapist to remain relevant all these years have a stake in the outlet and a say in how they collectively operate. Isn't that a novel idea? That the people who actually do the work for making a company profitable actually get a say in how the outlet is run? Wild. When The Escapist began to hire new talent, a number of new series came along with it, my personal favourites being The Stuff of Legends, hosted by Frost, and Design Delve, hosted by Jay. These new shows, also taking from Zero Punctuation's tentpole art style and apparent cinematic universe, seem to be getting far more exposure and respect now that they've all gone independent along with Second Wind. And Yahtzee himself has started up a new series, or rather, is continuing an old one, fully ramblomatic, in the exact same Zero Punctuation style. We've come full circle seemingly, in a deeply amusing middle finger being held up to The Escapist. It's actually great. Before, fully ramblomatic was all one word. Now there's a space between fully and ramblomatic, and to be technical, it was fully ramblomatic review. Ergo, legally distinct from the series The Escapist picked up in the first place, and the most thinly veiled piss off in the face I've ever seen. It's great. Which, if you recall my analysis of Big D, that's a World of Darkness thing for those of you who aren't initiated, don't get excited, it's always something I find delightfully amusing. It seems to me that The Escapist need these people a hell of a lot more than they need The Escapist. As much as I'd like to say The Escapist bad, Gamers bad, and corporations bad, and knock off for lunch, it isn't that simple. Frankly, I can't even entirely blame The Escapist for the mess with Zero Punctuation itself. The Extra Credit situation and a bunch of other stuff after that, sure, because that was primarily perpetuated by a co-owner and founder of the site. Not the workers. Not then, not now, not likely in the future. A worker likely wouldn't be put into a position to create such an absolute mess like that in the first place. And if they were, they would have been fired on the spot. But if you note, the same basic issue arose in both situations. In both situations, the management were the ones at fault, either mistreating their workers, outright lying, or making a mess of things. And they can do this really because there's basically no one at the site that can rein them in, unless they're answering to a parent company if they have one, or a government. The primary issue here is the hierarchy between those who do the work for these outlets and those that own them. And the secondary issue is money. It essentially creates a scenario where people with near unchecked power in the workplace can attempt to exploit those around them for money. Something a lot of them are driven to do due to the fact that we currently live in a world where money is needed for everything, from lobbying governments to being able to eat food. It's a source of power. It's power coupons. In other words, the powerful trying to get more powerful. To use a video game analogy to at least pretend that we're keeping this on track, imagine a game where you can keep getting more and more money in you can use it to buy like 1,000 health potions so you can never lose. That's basically what's happening with the wealthy. Only in this analogy, they get their money by slapping you in the face, which would be exploiting your labor. And Gamers in this analogy bought a bunch of health potions, drank them all at once, passed out in a run, and got hit by a bus. There's no question in my mind that the choice to fight Calandra was made by some sort of higher up who doesn't understand video games, the culture of the industry they're in, or view the games industry only as a product, rather than an art form. You know, the kind of higher ups who fought to put purchasable time savers into video games to help you, quote, skip the grind, who then also exerted influence on the actual game designers to make the game more grind heavy in the first place, because if they didn't, no one would want to buy the time savers. You know, those gibbons whose hands on every facet of contemporary culture to turn it into part of a corporate machine, who when the sales are still too low, will issue a round of layoffs to perpetuate the myth of infinite growth, which only contributes to games getting worse and worse and worse. And hey, have you noticed that this is the same issue that gripped The Escapist? Executives making choices that are so utterly detached from the work being done by